doing it. Can you see?
Yeah, looks good.
All right, so for everyone to be able to first see what the graduation requirements are, this is obviously what your girls need to meet to walk across our stage. This is not necessarily what colleges are looking for as far as entrance. So you'll see 3 years of math, 3 years of science, 3 years of social studies, two years of world language. So I say years because one of our credits is typically a full year. But these are 3 credits worth, so each of our half credits is a semester. So when you're looking at graduation requirements versus what colleges might be looking for, it's important for girls to understand, depending on what their college choices are, what they need to be getting to. So obviously you'll see students must include Algebra 2 in math. They must include US history or AP US history and social studies. Some students who may be applying into specific engineering programs need to get to a certain level of physics. A lot of that will be very explicitly clear on college websites. And so we really ask that as girls begin, right now they just need to be working towards their graduation requirements. But as they move on and start to create those lists for where they see themselves going after DSHA, we really ask that girls begin to kind of consider how rigorous are the colleges that they're attending and what specifically their programs might be looking for. So for instance, language is a big piece that the more colleges that we see, they're really asking for girls to come in with probably up to the 3rd level of a language. So that does not mean 3 years, but if your daughter is coming in at Spanish 2 and then sophomore year took Spanish 3, she has already reached the 3rd level of her language. So completing that 3rd level is really important. So that's going to be specific for the college. All of your daughters will be able to have conferences with Mr. Hendricks, our college counselor, their junior and their senior year, to make sure that they know kind of what they're looking for and what that looks like. But we'll reference some of this later. So next is Aubrey.
Hi everyone, I'm Aubrey Murtha. I'm an English teacher here at DSHA, and I'm going to talk you through the English course sequence. So first, if you just take a look at what's in front of you. I'm not going to belabor descriptions of each of these courses because you can find them in the course description, which is on the DSHA website and is communicated to the girls. But there's a couple things I want to mention based on what you see on your screen. The first thing is that each of the courses that are denoted with an asterisk, those are dual credit or dual enrollment courses. So it's likely at this point that you've hopped in on that, that breakout session. If you are curious or want more information, please have your daughter reach out to one of her English teachers. The other thing you'll note is that we offer 2 different AP English options, but they're specific to grade levels. So the AP selection that's available to your daughter for her junior year is AP Language and Composition. And then for her senior year is AP Literature. So if she's interested in AP Language and Composition, please go ahead and have her sign up for that one for next year, because it will not be an option for her senior year, and she'll get recommended into the AP Literature course. I wanted to also mention that all of these classes, aside from the 2 AP course offerings, are 1 semester long, which means next year she would sign up for 2 of these courses if she's not taking AP Lang. I also wanted to mention that they're all mixed junior senior courses, aside from the 2 AP course offerings, which are specific to those indicated grade levels. I wanted to mention 2 specific courses. The first is the writing course. This one is very different from other English course offerings at DSHA, so I like to just give a little info on that. The writing course is more of a creative writing course. So it's one of the few course offerings in the English department that does not do analytical, read a book, analyze it, read a text, analyze it. The course is modeled off of texts like the New Yorker, for example, or the Atlantic, where the students would be writing narratives, profiles, reviews, and it's more magazine style writing than the other course offerings that we have. So that it's hugely popular to students who have an interest in that and might want to take a break from the literary analysis style of writing that they've been practicing thus far. The other one I wanted to mention, and it's not indicated on here, but there is a summer course offering in the English department this coming summer. It's Female Identity in Literature. Someone asked what the dates were for that, and I didn't know the dates for my own course, so I looked them up between breakout rooms. It runs from June 10th, that's a Thursday, through Friday, July 2nd. If your daughter is interested in taking that and has any questions, please encourage her to send me, Miss Murtha, a message on Teams, and I can give her some more information on that. It does take the place of one semester of English, and your daughter could decide how she wants to divvy that up. If she'd like to only take one English class her junior year, if she only wants to take one her senior year, or if she wants to double up and just take all the Englishes that she possibly can, that is an option. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to Rizzi for the math department, and we'll take questions at the end of our session here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rizzi Lundberg, and I teach math at DSHA. Currently, I'm teaching honors geometry, geometry with deductive reasoning, and BC calculus. So I'm going to walk you through the math sequence. To start, there are only 3 credits required in math for graduation, but I would say 99% of the girls take 4 credits of math, because colleges, when they see that, they really would like to see 4 years of math on a transcript. So most girls come and freshman year take Algebra 2 or Algebra 1, depending on what kind of math was offered at their middle school. And so they take Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 freshman year, one of those 2 classes. Then everyone sophomore year takes some sort of geometry, either honors geometry or geometry with deductive reasoning. And then once you get into junior and senior year, then you can start making some choices. So for junior year, if you took Algebra 1 freshman year, then you would take Algebra 2 junior year. Or if you already took Algebra 2, then you would take pre-calculus with trig, either just a regular class or an honors class. And the honors class is leading into the AP calculus classes that we have. We offer 2. BC calculus gives can get you 6 credits of college calculus, and AB can get 3 credits of college calculus. And then we also offer just a calculus class, which is for people who feel like perhaps they're not quite ready for the rigor of the AP class, but still would like an introduction to calculus. I taught that class for a while. It's really a great class. I really enjoyed it. And then we have a couple other really interesting offerings. So some girls coming in from their middle school or their grade school with having not had too much algebra to begin with. So they did Algebra 1, geometry, then Algebra 2. Then their senior year, we have an option for them to take the dual credit college algebra. So even though they're not getting college credit through an AP class, they still have the opportunity to get college credit by taking college algebra, which I believe is college algebra is a requirement for graduation for almost every college and university. You have to get through college algebra, so it's a really great opportunity to get those credits, and I believe that's offered through Cardinal Stritch. Something else we offer, because we have a lot of girls who are interested in math. We have a lot of students who are interested in pursuing math, not necessarily math after college, but math heavy majors like computer science or engineering. And so we designed a couple of extra classes, a couple of electives for students. We have some students who have already taken geometry and need an extra math class in high school, or some students who would like to take an elective and they're really interested in math. So we offer linear algebra and discrete math. And so linear algebra, that's a lot of matrices. It's working with systems of equations, and discrete math we say that discrete math is the math of counting, where as opposed to the math of measuring, where discrete math, you might say, if I have 10 digits and 26 letters, how many license plates can I make that have 3 letters and 3 digits? Questions like that. And those are offered to any student, junior or senior can take that class, and they're not an honors class, it's open to everyone. So those are our elective classes, and I think that's it. So that's what we were, oh, I wanted to mention something that's not on here. Statistics is not a part of the math curriculum. That colleges don't recognize statistics as a math class. So we had students who would take 3 years of math and then statistics and think that they were getting 4 years of math in, but colleges did not recognize it as such. So we took statistics out of the math department and we put it in the specialized studies department, so that girls could still take 4 years of math and still get credit for statistics somewhere else. I want to give it a plug. A lot of majors, gosh, I can't think of, anyway, a lot of majors require require statistics. So getting an AP stats class or even just an introductory class is really beneficial to our students. So if you have any questions about that, please ask me at the end in the chat. Okay, and I will give it back to Therese. Or Katie.
My name's Katie Phillips. I teach physics and AP physics, and my job is to talk about the science sequence. So some of your daughters are taking chemistry right now, and some are taking an ecology class or oceanography class. So for next year, if she hasn't taken chemistry yet, we would recommend that she does, because that opens the doors for other classes that chemistry is a prerequisite for, like anatomy and physiology, like AP environmental science. So that's a great choice. And really, colleges, a lot of them are looking for the big 3 sciences, which are biology, chemistry, and physics. So we would recommend that, especially for students who plan to do a STEM major. So pre-medicine, nursing, engineering, certainly. But open to everyone are also these electives like ecology and food chemistry that you can see here for first semester. And then second semester next year, geology and astronomy is the offering for second semester. Oceanography and marine biology aren't going to be offered next year, but they might be offered your daughter's senior year. So those are the options for science. I don't have a particular recommendation about like when should she take physics. So if she's a junior, then she has the math and she's ready to take it her junior year. But it might be that she wants to do AP chemistry first and then do physics. So that's a choice that she can make depending on the other classes that she's signing up for. Again, like Rissy said, you know, many students, even though only 3 credits of science are required, many take 4 and some even double up one of their years and end up with 5. And another plug for the courses coming later, that there's a computer science class, there's an intro to engineering class in the specialized studies department. Not here, but those are great classes I would recommend as well. So there is not dual credit, there's no college credit for the anatomy and physiology class next year. That might be coming back in the future. It was offered in the past, but I just wanted to make folks aware of that in case your older daughter got that. Okay, ready for the next one.
Thanks, Katie. All right, so moving on to social studies. Many girls, you know, this year either took US history or they took AP government. So in planning for next year, US history or AP US history are requirements for graduation. So making sure that your daughters fit those in at some point. This is an area that social studies teachers are really encouraging, as in many fields, the girls to move towards areas that interest them. So psychology, I think, is a very common class for girls to take at some point in college. So I'd say that's an area where if your daughter has any type of interest in psychology or something in the humanities, this is a great introductory course to that. So many of these classes are going to be semester-long classes aside from the AP courses. So obviously, if your daughter's already in AP Gov, she probably has a pretty good idea of that uptick in rigor and kind of the expectations compared to a non-AP class. Depending on how she's feeling in that current AP Gov class, that can kind of indicate if AP US History is going to be a good option to move into, or as you can see from the bottom couple courses, as indicated earlier, any course with an asterisk is going to show a dual enrollment. So dual enrollment is challenging. It is a college level class that's taught at the high school level. And if girls want to pay to get that credit, you know, it's a really great opportunity for girls to not have to necessarily test to get the credit, but to go through the course and do their very best and then get the credit afterwards. Those are all semester-based classes. So if AP US History or AP Human Geography feels like a bit too much to step into right away, trying out a dual enrollment class and then also doing you know, one of the other options such as psychology, economics, gender studies, or international relations the opposite semester can help the girls feel a little bit more balanced in their courses. But all of these really, you know, don't just take AP Euro because, you know, that's what looks good. The social studies department really wants to see girls moving in the direction of like, oh, that sounds interesting to me, or I'd love to know more about our government. I'd love to know more about kind of how people view, you know, culture and civilizations and all of these different things on a larger scale, as well as bringing in a lot of like current topics. So these areas I think are really great introductions, and I think the conversations that are being had in class are really, really valuable for the girls. As far as fine arts go, the sequence of events are really, you know, areas that like girls can just stay in visual arts and kind of move through there. All girls need to have 1 full credit of fine arts to meet their graduation requirement. It's not uncommon for me to see girls, you know, freshman year having taken art foundation, but maybe sophomore or junior or senior year take handbells or choir or something in theater arts. Stagecraft is an area that, you know, a lot of the freshmen are opting to take right away so that they can be involved in crew. So these are areas where, you know, some of them do have prerequisites or expectations that the girls have something ahead of it. But if you have a daughter who's really interested in the arts, there's plenty of options for the girls to choose. These are areas where, you know, obviously we want to make sure that enough girls are signing up for them so that the course is run. And also that some of these may only be run, you know, 1 semester or the other. So sometimes it might take a little bit of finagling to help it fit, but ideally we can always make that work. So finally, I know we've referenced this a number of times, but the specialized study sequence, you know, really even sophomore year, your daughters have a lot more options available to them. All girls need to have at least a half credit, so 1 semester course. Accounting is a course that is available over the summer if girls are just having a trouble fitting it into their schedule during the year. So you know, accounting is one option, but also I know some girls are just thinking, you know, I have to focus on the core academic areas. You know, I just want to kind of get it done with and keep moving. But a lot of these are a really great kind of addition to what the girls are learning in the classroom in those core academic areas, and it can help kind of create a little bit more of that understanding of what could this look like in a job, in a career. So anything from finance and accounting to engineering and computer science. So these are all really great options to kind of expand those options for the girls. Finally, I do want to to reference the Marian Scholar Peer Mentor, which is at the end of the list on juniors and seniors. This is obviously a new program to DSHA, but it's a great way for the girls who may be interested in education, as well as any type of humanities, working with others, that they can kind of create a bit more ownership. And it's more of a unique experience that I think colleges like to see. So when we send the girls transcripts, they will also receive a profile of the school. So it references all of the classes that girls can take. So if girls are interested in accounting or interested in going into business or humanities, possibly engineering and STEM, they will see that these are course options for the girls to be able to take. So we really do recommend that the girls move in that direction. And, I am a big advocate for saying balance, girls, balance. You don't want to try and shove too much in, especially in those last 2 years, because there's going to be more added on when it comes time for applying to colleges. But I think being really thoughtful with those last 2 years and choosing the courses that are of interest, as well as continuing to prepare you well for that next step and introduce you to new areas, I think those are all really great options for the girls. So this concludes our sequences that we go over for most areas. So at this point, I'm going to go back to the graduation requirements just for parents to see this one more time. I know we've got a couple minutes left for questions. So, obviously this is, we're open to answer any questions that you might have. If you want to type that into the chat, if you want to say it out loud. I know many of you have gotten your questions answered through AP and dual enrollment, but it looks like I have a message that says, how do we know what summer class options there are? And this is available in the course selection guide. So we've got 2 options for summer school. One is the Female Identity in Literature course that Aubrey Murtha mentioned earlier, for that can meet an English requirement. And then the second one is accounting. So those are actually the only 2 that are available for summer.
Those are both virtual, by the way. Just
yeah.
An additional note.
Any other questions? How do they get the service credit? Is that all 4 years? So one change that's happened within the campus ministry is that due to COVID, they've kind of shifted the service requirement, and now all girls need to complete the individual service plan. So that is kind of creating this plan of how girls are going to do their service this year. So it's not necessarily, I know a lot of girls have this idea of like, I've done this many hours, and I think that's great to track. But as far as the individual service plan goes, campus ministry wants to know kind of what your plan is and how you're going to go about that. There are a series of reflections that the girls need to complete throughout the term of the semester. So I believe that they did 3 in the first semester term. I imagine they're going to do 3 again second semester. But as long as they complete that, as well as their reflections, they should earn that. And that is all 4 years.
I have a quick question about languages. I know if they take so many years of a language, they can also take certain tests, right? SAT subject test? Yes, SAT subject test, where they could potentially get credits or get credits for college, or take additional tests, get those test results that are maybe really good that they could also show at college. Is that a fair statement?
So it's actually not an SAT subject test. So what most colleges do when girls are coming in with a language is they have them take a placement test. And depending on where they place, that can place them beyond a certain number of credits. And some colleges will actually give you retroactive credits. So if you are placed into a 400 level language, they will give you all of those earlier credits that you've earned. So if you know, someone's trying to work towards a minor and they need a certain number of credits, you may only have to take one class to reach that minor. Typically, it will go through the college directly, and that's how that works.
Okay, thanks. That's helpful.
Sure.
The specialized studies question, one specialized studies class is 0.5 credits. So each semester is a 0.5 credit worth of a class. So that student will only have to take one semester of specialized studies to fulfill that graduation requirement.
Yeah, that's right. Only a half credit to fulfill the graduation requirement, but some specialized studies classes are a full year or 1 credit. It's like AP Stats is 1 credit, so they would end up with more credit than they need, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right, well, I will close this room. I will go back to the main room and be available for a couple minutes for any following or any last minute questions that people have. Leave.